The baths of Caracalla and the baths of Diocletian are the two largest of the ancient Roman bath complexes and the two best preserved. Part of the baths of Diocletian was converted into a Christian church, the Basilica of St. Mary of the Angels and the Martyrs, and the grand interior gives you a sense of what the building looked like in Roman times. But above and beyond the monumental architecture, what was it like going to the baths? Well, we know a bit about that also. 3 of Rome's most important Stoic philosophers wrote about it. They all had a rather negative take on it. Epictetus had the following words of wisdom. When you're going to take in hand any act, remind yourself what kind of an act it is. If you're going to bathe, place before yourself what happens in the bath. Some splashing the water, others pushing against one another, others abusing one another, and some stealing. And thus, with more safety you will undertake the matter, if you say to yourself, I now intend to bathe, and to maintain my will in a manner conformable to nature. And so you will do in every act. For thus, if any hindrance to bathing shall happen, let this thought be ready. It was not this only that I intended, but I intended also to maintain my will in a way conformable to nature. But I shall not maintain it so if I am vexed at what happens. There were a lot of bath complexes around Rome, probably in the hundreds. Seneca lived above one and wrote about what it was like. Here's what he had to say. Beshrew me if I think anything more requisite than silence for a man who secludes himself in order to study. Imagine what a variety of noises reverberates around my ears. I have lodgings right over a bathing establishment, so picture to yourself the assortment of sounds which are strong enough to make me hate my very powers of hearing. When your strenuous gentleman, for example, is exercising himself by flourishing leaden weights, when he's working hard, or else pretends to be working hard, I can hear him grunt, and whenever he releases his imprisoned breath, I can hear him panting in wheezy and high-pitched tones. Or perhaps I notice some lazy fellow, content with a cheap rub-down, and hear the crack of the pummeling hand on his shoulder, varying in sound according as the hand is laid on flat or hollow. Then perhaps a professional comes along, shouting out the score. That is the finishing touch. Add to this the arresting of an occasional roisterer or pickpocket, the racket of the man who always likes to hear his own voice in the bathroom, or the enthusiast who plunges into the swimming tank with unconscionable noise and splashing. Besides all those whose voices, if nothing else, are good, imagine the hair plucker with his penetrating shrill voice, for purposes of advertisement, continually giving it vent, and never holding his tongue except when he's plucking the armpits and making his victim yell instead. Then the cake seller with his varied cries, the sausageman, the confectioner, and all the vendors of food hawking their wares, each with his own distinctive intonation. So you say, what iron nerves or deadened ears you must have, if your mind can hold out amid so many noises, so various and so discordant, when our friend Chrysippus is brought to his death by the continual good morrows that greet him. Finally, the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius had perhaps the most negative take of all on the bathing establishments. Here's what he had to say. Just as you see your bath, all soap, sweat, grime, greasy water, the whole thing disgusting, so is every part of life and every object in it.